Hello, everyone. Welcome into lesson 4 on eighth notes and eighth rest. So, as we talk about our notes here, remember a few things we need. So, we need our note head, we need our stem, and then for eighth notes, we need a flag. So, note head, not the seed, the stem, and then the flag. Okay? And as you might expect, eighth notes in 4/4, there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 eighth notes. Now, put our bar line at the end. That looks a little confusing. So, when we're writing eighth notes separately, we need to make them with a flag. But when we're writing them together, we can group them into an easier arrangement just so we can see them a little easier. Typically, we'll group them in groups of 2 or in groups of 4. So that's a whole lot easier to see 8 eighth notes instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now how do we count eighth notes? Remember, let's get rid of this for a second. So if we're thinking about quarter notes as just numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to write these, our eighth notes, upside down. That doesn't change anything. So those will still be the numbers there, but then we have to come up with a what do we put in between those numbers? And what we say are ands. So the ands are just splitting evenly right between the quarter note pulse. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Cool. So we have a single eighth note, a sound, and then the opposite, an eighth rest, is right there. So a little dot on the third space up, and kind of a, an upside down flag if you want to think about it that way. So notes and rests. All right, and when we look at page 10 in our book, circle the measure that has the correct number of note and rest values for the time signature. So our first one here is 3/4. We have a quarter note, and 2 eighth notes. So if we count all of those, if we're in 3/4, there's going to be 3 quarter notes or 6 eighth notes in there. So that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay? So number 1, the first measure is good to go. We have 3 quarter notes or the equivalent of 6 eighth notes. Now, maybe a better way to write that, since we can group these together, they will sound exactly the same. They're just written a little bit differently. So 1, 2, 3, and. Okay? All right, and if we look at number 5 on here, so this is in 4/4. So we have, I'm just going to write this out real quick. Oops, sorry. Let me get rid of that. And we have our first eighth rest, another eighth note, an eighth rest. Okay, so if we're going to be in 4/4, it wants to add bar lines to form 3 measures of 4/4. So we just have to think how many eighth notes are going to be in a measure of 4/4 and make sure we're counting accordingly. So there's going to be 4 eighth notes in our half note. So that's going to take up beats 1 and 2. And then we have 3 and 4 on the quarter note. So our first bar line will go right there. And then on the next one, so we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Because that half note takes up 2 beats. And then we'll put our second bar line. So just keep counting through there. Make sure that's adding up to, if we're in 4/4, 8/8 notes. If we're in 3/4, that's going to be 6/8 notes. 2/4, it's going to be 4/8 notes. And then we can do that with any equivalent. So if we're in 2/4, that's a whole measure. That's a whole measure. And that's also a whole measure. So combinations of those, or their equivalent rests, all work out to fill up that whole measure. All right, hope that helps. Thanks so much.